Welcome to this bonus episode of Comic Book Nation, the only show that does it all for geek culture and the official podcast of Comicbook.com. I am your host, Kofi Outlaw, and as you can see in this rare hoodied up version of myself, I am still recovering from the emotional damage of the Super Bowl as a proud Philadelphia Eagles fan, but glowing in the bask of victory over there is my co-host, Connor Casey. Introduce yourself. Just kidding. We don't need to hear from you. You already have enough shine. And my other co-host, Matthew Aguilar, is with me as well. Boys, how you doing?
What's up,
For
everybody?
real. How you guys doing?
I'm good. Did something happen last night? I couldn't keep track.
I tried to extend some niceties, and this is what happened. So we are here on the job today, not to talk about football, but to talk about the part that appeals to us here at Comicbook.com, which is, of course, the trailers that dropped. Every Super Bowl, we do a mad scramble to cover all the biggest trailers and do all the quickest breakdowns we can of things for you guys here at Comicbook.com. And last night certainly brought us some fun stuff to talk about. All right, let's start right at the top because let's waste no time. The first and biggest thing that we are going to be discussing today is, of course, Deadpool and Wolverine, which was the most highly anticipated trailer that was going to drop during the Super Bowl. And we got it, and we got it pretty early on. So this trailer kind of reveals Wade Wilson, Ryan Reynolds kind of hanging out with the characters we saw in Deadpool 2, some of them kind of doing, mysteriously back from the dead or so, or things like that. Or whatever. Anyway, I can't make sense of what the group is doing. Jim is asking me if we want to have a meeting right now. Jim Viscardi, producer, but I'm just trying to host a live show. But anyway, back to this. We see Deadpool. He's in kind of the remnants of what we would see at the end of Deadpool 2 with all his buddies. TVA comes in. There's instant Loki connections. We have Matthew McFadden from Succession, who plays Paradox, this agent who wants Deadpool to do a mission that he kind of sells is making Deadpool a hero of heroes, but obviously I feel like this is misdirection, and he's playing to Wade's ego, and he basically sends him somewhere that we want to, which is what I want to make the focus of this discussion. He sends him to this place, this kind of wasteland where if you've been reading our trailer breakdowns, it seems pretty clear. We get, what do you call that thing? Eliath? Is that what we call it?
Yeah.
Eliath from Loki is snatching people up, TVA hunters in one scene. There's this whole Mad Max vibe to this place with people like Pyro from the early X-Men movies hanging out. And we know others from leaks and things we've seen of this movie that there will be others here. So it seems pretty clear to me for a Marvel movie, for anybody who's been kind of keeping the pieces together of all this, that it honestly seems like Deadpool is pulled out of the Fox universe and sent to possibly stop someone or someones in this kind of wasteland of the TVA. The Void is what we call it from Loki, that has pieces of different realities in it, including a very hilarious 20th Century Fox logo that's buried, which I love that somebody built that set piece with a humongous 20th Century Fox logo. And this is kind of like Wasteland Wars, right? It is kind of like a Mad Max-ish, like hair pieces of realities that have been torn apart. And I bet there'll be a lot of meta jokes about how Disney did all this and how it kind of condensed and made this one universe where all these other things used to be. And you could actually have a good, at once funny kind of classic Deadpool movie, a good kind of meta commentary movie about this whole process and what's happened with like the Fox and the Disney of it all, and having one MCU. Because I know my buddy Rob Keyes at Screen Rant used to always debate whether this was a good thing for Marvel to have everything or DC to have everything versus being able to have like an X-Men movie when you're getting MCU movies and all that other stuff. So it has been a debate, and, a good way to kind of condense this all down and weirdly have a non-heavy way to set up something like Secret Wars. So it looks like it could be doing a lot of heavy lifting here, but what did you guys think of this as kind of just a first taste? And it really was a teaser trailer in the traditional sense, but what'd you guys think of it?
Honestly, it was exactly what I expected. They were going to give hints as to what he's doing, what his involvement with the TVA is. We'd get a flash of Wolverine. We don't get the full, here's what Hugh Jackman looks like in the suit we only see him from behind. There's little teases out there for all the YouTube channels to grab. I've already seen the, hey, is he lying next to an issue of Secret Wars? That feels important. Stuff like that. The only thing I was kind of bummed about was the first two movies were so much of them were about his relationships, and for them to pretty much indicate in this trailer that yeah, he and his better half they didn't make it. That kind of sucks, especially with how much Deadpool 2 was about bringing her back. I was kind of bummed to be like, yeah, they're friends. If even that, she looked kind of pained to even call him buddy there. That just kind of, I don't know. I was bummed by that, but other than that, no complaints.
I feel like there's gonna, I mean, because Ryan Reynolds has tried to make sure that there is a kind of dramatic underpinning to these, or at least some note of seriousness to ground it all. Like you said, the second film was really almost, there was a tragic kind of, it wasn't too far off from like the time traveler's wife with Hugh Jackman, and like this kind of doing whatever it takes to bring this person you love back. But I could see this one, and the reasoning being like Wade Wilson never grows up or does anything new or serious or substantial with his life.
Yeah.
And that being the kind of character arc. And that's why Matthew McFadden's whole thing like appeals to him, right? It's like, here's a chance. It's not just you can be a hero among heroes. It's like you can show Vanessa that you've done something serious and substantial in life. But of course it goes haywire.
Yeah.
Matt, what'd you think?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of I think you guys have really put it well. I mean, I will say that there is a part of me that hopes, I agree with Connor in that the family dynamic, right? That kind of ragtag group of people that have formed a family around Wade has been like one of the best parts about the two movies. So I do hope that it's not a, hey, they're in the first 10 minutes and then we're on this wild adventure and then they show up at the very end. That would be a bit of a bummer for me, because those are the people that ground Wade. Those are the people that ground the theatrics and everything. And I know a big part of the movie will be his, best friend, best buddy Logan and that dynamic. But I still want those two movies were successful for a reason, and I still want those people in and around his life throughout this new chapter. So I hope we get more of them than what the trailer implies. But that's a very small critique, and we haven't obviously seen the movie, so that could be very well the case.
I think
it's
you
a lot to make off of.
I think you already know the truth deep down. That's why you're saying this. Is you already have it figured out what's going to happen here. It's going to be
it's a feeling, right? And it does very much give that impression. So I'm not going off of nothing here, but at the same time, I am going to like give them the the reasonable thing of seeing the movie first before I go and make a judgment off of, a minute teaser trailer. Like I'm not doing that. But I hope that that's the case. I like actually that they saved the big Logan stuff for later. It's okay. Like, it's okay to not get everything in one trailer. I've seen some people like, I want to see more Wolverine. Like, the movie's called that. You know what I mean? I'm good. Like, save some things for the lead up right up until release. This looks fun.
He's in the title. You're gonna see him. Like that's not the
right.
Yeah. Also, there's some things to address. It just kind of bringing what you're saying in the comments. Like, I also think you got to remember the marketing campaign, and Ryan Reynolds is a master at this. Like, there's going to be this one had blood splatters and stuff, but there's going to be a red band at some point. Mm-hmm. Like, there has to be, which is going to be like, it's just probably a crazy pastiche of them just stabbing the crap out of each other, healing, stabbing, like, in all of that nonsense that we're going to probably see, because it ends right before that. But I could imagine a red band just kind of like picking up with just the stabbing everywhere. Also, I think it seems pretty clear that at the very best, you will have a story where, again, there's going to be a story here where, Wade hasn't kind of matured in a certain way, even though having this family around him, he's not really quote unquote like family dad material. But like, by the end of this, he has to make a serious decision to do some kind of sacrifice. It probably ends up in a universe where these people aren't the same. Like, all his family is still alive, but they're not. It's a wonderful kind of a weird twist on A Wonderful Life or something, like where he's back, but it, stuff is just, they don't know.
Be clear, because there's a comment, right? And I understand, like, Angelica, like I get that. I'm not saying this needs to be the home life of Deadpool for 2 hours. What I'm saying is that I want these people who have been important to that aspect of his life other than the slicing and dicing, and also actually a part of that as well. I want them to figure into a plot or beats in the movie. I want them to be important in some way, because I mean, so that's what I'm asking for. Yeah, I don't need him by the fireplace reminiscing about life for 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's a boring movie, and I get it.
I will say my personal wish is that the movie ends with him in the MCU kind of depressed and being like, no one knows me here. And then Spider-Man just swings in, Tom Holland, Spider-Man be like, you too? Nobody knows me either. And like, they're just like, and then he just, like Ryan Reynolds just makes a kind of menage a trois joke about Sony, Disney, and like Fox. Just be like, yeah.
The one thing I'll say, because I know this was a fear people had ever since the original 2 Deadpool movies came out, was if Marvel got their hands on him, would they kind of Disneyify him and smooth out the edges? And even this trailer gave the indication, nope, that's not going to be a problem. And we know the one line when the TVA first shows up that goes, I don't know how you got that past Disney, but if this whole movie's going to be stuff like that, let's go.
They pull out the paddle rods and he's like, pegging isn't new for me, but it is for Disney. And he looks right at the camera.
He just looks at the camera like, oh God.
I love that. But no, I mean, Sean Levy, I'm trusting Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levy at this point, and Hugh Jackman is Sean Levy, if you've ever seen Real Still. So like,
yes.
Yeah, I mean, this is just a team I trust, and it already looks like significant enough. We already have on comicbook.com, Instagram, a video of us just kind of setting up about whether this is going to be, because it was funny. We had that discussion on Friday about, does this movie need to be the movie to save the MCU? And then Ryan Reynolds comes right out and says, I am Marvel Jesus. So here we go. You can always find, there's a Marvel podcast we also work with, and I'm sure they have more in-depth discussions about Deadpool, the TVA, the possible villain, Cassandra Nova theories of it all, and all that. So check that out there. We do it all for Geek Culture, and we have many other trailers to talk about. Here's one that, because there's always like a trailer, and I didn't want to get into the weeds about this, but there are always trailers, and then there are those kind of Super Bowl spots that lead you to the trailer online. And I almost wanted to do a breakdown of each piece of each trailer. And towards the end, I think if we have time, I did a little bit of that. But this one had a great Super Bowl spot that made me instantly go, nah, I got to see that whole trailer, and jumped in. And that was Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And I think I put in the comic book Slack, like, man, these ape reboots keep looking better than they ever have any damn right to be. I remember when I saw Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and I was like, with James Franco, I was like, man, could this actually work? The origin of the Planet of the Apes, and they could maybe pull this off. And then they did a pretty solid job pulling that off. And again, this sounds like I was just already in for this. Like within just this one trailer, I was like, yeah, I'm in for a whole new trilogy about this if we want to go there. And the kind of ape bonding with human thing, but from the other perspective. It's like Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes in reverse, right? But yeah, this is a real interesting kind of twist on the apes concept. It's not reinventing the wheel, but I think there's a good kind of story here about two people bonding. And I know there are going to be a lot of gross jokes, but I think they are going to nail the right tone between like a young girl and, this intelligent ape kind of forming this friendship and bond and stuff. But I'm already in for this. So what did you guys think?
I just gotta love I love the Witcher crossover there. Freya Allen is in the mix here and is just like,
is that why I recognize her?
Yeah, it's positioned to be a huge star. So I feel like this is great for her. I'm glad that she's in another mega franchise. So I look, the way these movies, I really thought after the Burton one that like, okay, they're probably going to give up on that for a minute, because I adore the original movies. But like, that was such a bomb. I was like, it's not going to work. And then they have surprised me at every single turn. They've really made this into a really legitimate, thoughtful, provoking, action-packed franchise. So I'm in until they kind of, until they prove that streak wrong. Like, I'm in, and this looks like another strong entry. From albeit with a twist, so yeah. I'm in on this. This is a good trailer.
Yeah, I think it looks outstanding. I have questions like, is Circus still involved in this? Because we're obviously long past Caesar and what all he did. Obviously, Matt Reeves isn't around anymore. He's a little bit busy with another project that's a bit bigger. But everything I've seen from this so far tells me they passed the baton flawlessly. You look back at the old Planet of the Apes movies. Once you get past the, hey, it was the '60s and '70s. We did the best we could with makeup. They went to some dark places, fairly early on. So I'm glad that this isn't trying to shy away from that, and we're getting to where we were in those original movies, where humans are barely audible, the apes are fully in control. Whoever the good guy is typically the ape that's fine with humans and going up against the ones that really just want to wipe them off the face of the earth. I thought Cope, you mentioned it. I thought there were a lot more trailers this year where it was, here's the 20-second Super Bowl spot. The 2-minute trailer is over on YouTube. And with this one where they just kept saying, what a wonderful day over and over, I'm like, that is chilling.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That stopped me in my tracks and made me because I was working and I had to stop and just pay attention to that. And I was like, wow. Mm-hmm. And that made me go, yeah, I got to see this trailer now. That was... Yeah, it was so well done and so chilling. Yeah. What a wonderful day! I was like, "Whoa!"
My only kind of wish for this movie is, as much as I love that trilogy that came out in the 2010s, I really thought War for the Planet of the Apes felt like too small of a note to go out on, because it really just becomes a Prison Break movie, as opposed to the title implies all of humanity at war with the apes, and it felt like we didn't quite get there. And I want the scale of this one to be bigger, is all I'm saying.
Sorry about that. I was saying that, I remember doing extensive press with Matt Reeves for Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. And I knew then, I didn't think that they were going to ever surpass that movie, because that movie is just, from Woody Harrelson to just the beginning with just the apes to the awesome and forever epic shot of an ape riding a horse with 2 machine guns through fire. I never thought that War was ever going to surpass that, and I was right. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is, for me, still the best of this entire series ever. But this looks good, and I was looking at the cast. Freya Allen, Kevin Durant as Proximus Caesar. So there's going to be some kind of connective thread, but obviously some perversion of what Caesar was. And he's described as a bonobo ape ruler who's looking for human technologies. So he's smart.
Kevin Durant is a multi-time NBA champion. Kevin Durant.
No, Durand.
I'm Kevin Durant.
Okay, it did actually sound like Durant. So
I probably hit that a little too hard. I probably hit that a little too hard. There'd be a lot of logistical problems with that, but we won't.
Joining another winning team. Dude can't help himself.
Boy. I don't know if he has the hair coverage for that role.
No, he does.
Oh, God. Here we go. But yeah, it looks like a cast, and it's done by Wes Ball, who did the the Maze Runner movies, I believe. So yeah, this already sounds like it's in pretty solid hands here. So I'm all about it, and I can't believe we're still being surprised by them being able to do another Planet of the Apes movie. That makes me want to go spend my money on it.
It's so weird. We live in a world where this series is putting Jurassic Park to shame.
Oh,
I'm just gonna say it.
Even your cat came by to throw shade at that.
Oh, that's a hot take, man.
I'll put the last 3 Apes movies up against the Jurassic World, whatever.
So will I. I'm not just saying.
I'm not outright disagreeing with you either. Yeah, I'm just saying that's a good. But we should put that out on Twitter. We should put that out. That's a spicy one. We should do that.
We're gonna cut this one for socials. All right, let's go to the next trailer. Matt, you wanna? I don't have to do all these. I don't know why I'm doing all these. Matt, would you like to do the next one, please?
Oh, sure. Well, Wicked Part 1. We've been waiting to get a first look at this for a minute, and it was funny. So when this trailer hit, Anissa stopped what she was doing. She was coming out of the kitchen for something or whatever, and I heard the first hit of the soundtrack, and she stopped. She literally stopped in her tracks and went and just stood in place watching the entire trailer. And I was like, all right. And you went on social, look, the 2 main Is it Cynthia Ervo? Did I get
Ergo,
the
yeah.
last number? Yeah, yeah. And then
Yeah.
of course Ariana Grande. Having those two be your, two big leads is already gonna draw a lot of attention. But like, man, they're captivating in this, and if you're a fan, a lot of people have been waiting for this a long time. It looks fantastic. From all intents and purposes, it's still a small glimpse, but just from a production value and the talent involved, I mean, it's got me captivated. I'm going to see it. I want to see more, obviously, but you could say that about every single trailer in this thing. It's supposed to get you hyped, and it worked for me and for a lot of people. I started taking temperatures on social and stuff, and from other people in the fam, and like everyone's hyped for this. So trailer did its job.
Yeah, I was surprised how much this got me into Wicked. Like, I was never into like the musical or that much or anything, but like, yeah, man, like this is actually looking really, really good. I was looking up who's behind it, and yeah, no surprise, John M. Chu, who's a fantastic director. Crazy Rich Asians, Step Up 2, The Streets, Step Up 3D.
I love Step Up 2.
Yeah, we do. We all of us love Step Up 2. The Streets,
Step Up 2 is so good.
Harder. Like, yeah, we were like, oh man, like, yeah.
That Timberland like bounce at the end, like that's one of the best dance scenes ever.
Yeah. Oh, Brianna Evigan. Yeah, man. Like that was just they were getting it in. Those are good times. Mm-hmm. But no, John M. Chu, another great, solid director coming out of like the 2010s, and did Crazy Rich Asians and took it to a next level with his career. So yeah, the production values, like you said, the casting. Cynthia Ervo just continues to astound me on like the range that this lady can nail and just completely like crush at every role she plays, whether it's Frog or like
I've never seen her in a bad role.
No. And like whether it's a smaller TV role or just like a big film role, like it's nuts how good she is. Like, yeah, if you don't know her, she was in one of her breakout roles was Harriet Tubman in Harriet. She was at Bad Times at the El Royale, Chaos Walking, Luther Fallen Son, in which she plays a very good detective character. Yeah, detective character. I have not had enough sleep since this crushing emotional blow last night. And of course, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, which Matt just reviewed on a recent episode of our podcast. So, yeah, this looks good. Connor, what did you think? Because you and I were still high off Wonka. We went into Wonka, and we were also pleasantly surprised.
So, bit of a background about me. Bit of a theater kid. My mom got the original soundtrack to Wicked when it came out and played it nonstop in our car for about a year and a half. So I know every song. I'm a little nervous on this one, not because of how it looks. It looks fantastic. As far as the cast goes, stuff like Ariana Grande as Glinda and Jeff Goldblum as the Wizard, that is inspired. Like, if you know how the Wizard plays in the musical, that's perfect. This feels about 10 years too late. This feels like this should have come out when Oz the Great and Powerful did. It should have come out instead of that, to be honest with you. I know the film industry and the music is always very slow on the catch up to what's hot in musical land, like Rent coming out so many years after the fact and trying to bring back the original cast. And it's like, y'all are way too old to be in these roles now. With me,
what is it? What is it? Is it Ben Platt? What's the
the guy who shoots Mimi? Yeah.
That was
who was also responsible for the Rogers musical, for those keeping track. But as far as this one goes, it's also and this wasn't advertised well. This is a two-parter, and you kind of know if you know the story, at least the musical version. I don't know how much, if anything, they're going to take from the book. There is an obvious halfway cutoff point. I just feel like that this could easily be a 2.5 hour movie of the entire story. And I'm worried that we're going to see parts in both now where it's like, y'all are filling for time. And I don't want that for something that this musical's been around for a long time. It's incredible. I hope they don't botch it with this. And the fact that it's a two-parter has me like, I'm not so sure. But everything I've seen,
I don't know about the late thing. I don't know about the late. I think that's number one. It's how it is for, as you mentioned, every single musical. Hollywood is not timely in that. They've never have been.
We don't have a
And
Book
so-
of Mormon movie yet, so like
Right, like they're always late because they always go through development hell before they ever make it to the screen. And then on top of that, by the time I always feel like I don't even worry about that anymore because honestly for projects like this, Cats failed because Cats was bad.
Was nice.
If Cats had been good, that thing would have crushed. And it doesn't, it's a timeless piece of entertainment and art for musical fans, which I am also one, right? Like it doesn't matter. I'm going to go see one because it's timeless and because as long as it's good. So it doesn't, I don't think the timeliness part will affect that. Wicked is still has as rabid a fan base as any kind of musical project out there. So and people have been waiting for this. I think that won't hurt it. I hope it's good. And as long as it's good, that'll justify the 2-part thing, right? Because people will be excited. They'll be pissed that they have to wait, but they'll be excited that another piece is coming and it's not a one and done. I don't think that'll affect it. As long as it's good, I think it can move past that.
Yeah, I think also you always have to factor in musicals like, and this is a weird thing about music that's unique to Broadway and musicals and stage performances is like your own success delays your adaptation.
Right.
So like as long as your thing is viable and making money, and Wicked has been crushing because they franchise that thing. Like every city down here in Nashville was psyched when Wicked came and like opened and did all that. So as long as you can keep milking that IP, as a stage performance for money, like it always slows down the adaptation because once you hand it over to a movie crowd, like it completely you risk the brand that way, right? Because now a whole wide audience can see it in this form, and then it's harder to kind of create the magic for those non-theater people to come back and then get it from the actual,
But if y'all remember from a couple years ago, we had that pro shot of Hamilton. It came out on Disney Plus. I want more shows to do that.
Me too.
We put the original cast in amber and say, this is how it was in its original run. And I wish we would do more of those because even though that took a lot, even though COVID played a role in that, but taking so long for that alone to come out, I'm just like, this could have been 2 years after it debuts on Broadway. That could have been on Disney Plus, and it would have been an even bigger deal than it finally was when it came out mid-COVID. With this, it's like one thing is the timeliness. The other, it's like, this isn't a story that necessarily needs to be 2-hour movies. It can be told in 1, 2.5. That's the only thing where I'm kind of like, I'm not sure.
Yeah, but I think for the kids, they might cut it up to probably like an hour and a half a piece or something like that to get it to that younger crowd. I'm not sure. So I'm kind of interested to see what they're going to do here and how it plays, because I think Broadway and Broadway adaptation is still this kind of ongoing, fascinating process to me about like how they're figuring out how to kind of, like you said, I think it's still years behind that stage performances and major theater companies are years behind doing something like every year taking like the biggest show or like the 2 biggest shows and doing like live events around the holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, do one night, like streaming live events. Like
we should have done one for the Josh Groban Sweeney Todd. We should have done one.
Yeah, exactly.
Musical.
And then,
like there's a lot you can do.
And then just showcase one of those or like a footage cut of like the best of the performances or whatever. And as a big live event that everybody watches around the holidays. And like that alone should help spark like theater attendance. So I don't know. We're out here fixing the theater industry, but I think we all are curious to check out Wicked. We're going to take a quick break, pay some bills, but when we come back, we got to talk about the trailer for Twisters, The Fall Guy, and a bunch of the other ones that kind of came out in the mix on the lower tier. So stay tuned for all of that. welcome back to Comic Book Nation, the only show that does it all for geek culture and the official podcast of Comicbook.com. I think I might have come in a little early, so let me say, welcome back to Comic Book Nation, the only show that does it all for geek culture and the official podcast of Comicbook.com. I don't always get it right on the live show, but if you're just joining us now, we talked about the Super Bowl trailers for Deadpool 3, The Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, and Wicked Part 1, which sparked our unusual landmine/grenade discussion about the theater industry. So, and that's the Broadway theater industry, mind you. All right, so let's move on. Connor, you haven't grabbed one. Would you like to take the next one in the list?
Let's go. Next up is Twisters. So here's where I kind of
Zora. Yeah, come on, nail this one.
So one problem with this, I have never seen this movie. I have
really?
never seen
the original.
Oh,
I have never seen the original Twister. I know.
What?
I lived in Tornado Alley most of my life, and I have never.
Oh, so he got the real life version.
You do kind of live it. Although here's the dirty secret about tornadoes, guys, that they don't actually hit heavily populated areas. They tend to stay out where it's loose populations. The closest I've ever been to actually getting hit was here in Nashville. Funny enough.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was sitting in the bar,
and I was
we were watching it come down the street.
the one before COVID was the one where I was hiding in my bathroom and could hear it from a few miles away, and was like, okay, I've lost power for a week. But this looks fun. Glenn Powell, I feel like I'm surprised he hasn't become more of a movie star already. Like, I know he did the Sydney Sweeney thing that got everybody all kind of riled up, but I thought after Top Gun Maverick, this guy was going to be everywhere. And he's not. So I hope this thing takes off because I still want this guy to succeed.
I will say, Glenn Powell actually is much more active than we think. Like he's actually behind the film or behind the scenes. He also writes, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's doing some other stuff. Yeah, he's still finding his way. He has also that Netflix thing coming out this year, The Hitman, which is like this crazy true life story that is going to probably be the next Beef, maybe. So keep an eye on
call
that.
it Hitman, but he's not Agent 47, so I immediately lose interest.
That's funny. But
I need the barcode on the back of the head.
Yeah, and he wrote that one, and he wrote the screenplay with Richard Linklater, of all people. So, he's doing, this guy's making unusual choices. It's not like he's not going the Tom Cruise route like I think a lot of them, or the Chris Hemsworth route like a lot of us thought he would be, with this kind of looks and smarminess. But this guy's doing stuff like that, like really offbeat, kind of unexpected stuff. So I'm kind of curious to see The Hitman and this year. But I think if you've never seen the first one, this movie helped sparked a fierce debate in the comic book offices that almost got blood drawn, which was
oh god,
when Bill Paxton passed, our arguments about whether he was a legend, an icon, or what word you would use to describe him. Well, I say part of what made him a legend was Twister. I remember seeing this movie in the 90s, and you have to understand this was like when CGI was really just starting to pop off. And so the being able to pull that movie off and make a compelling movie out of it was like a small miracle of making tornadoes.
And they really did. That actually holds up in a lot of ways. Yeah. It's impressive.
I saw the finale the other day and I was like, get those little things into the sky. Essentially the launch of both of those little drones you see. Yeah. So the whole first film, when you see this trailer, Connor, just to kind of educate you, is you see those little balls that they're like flying up in the sky in the beginning of the trailer. Yeah, that was like the whole first movie was about developing the science to have those map a tornado from the inside out and pulling off the test. That was like what they were doing. They hired Paxton who was a tornado chaser, the scientist, to help them do it.
And Helen Hunt, man.
Yeah, Helen Hunt.
It was a pairing. So this is I love the first movie. It's very much it's not, I won't call it like a favorite all time, but like I really still enjoy that and look fondly on it. And so I'm excited for this. I'm gonna watch it. I feel like I see Glenn Powell everywhere. I feel like that dude's in like every other movie, but I'm not complaining because he's great. I haven't seen him turn in a bad performance yet. So he's another one that, I will watch his stuff. But this is fun. This is just like blockbuster fun. I hope it nails the tone, because Twister did that really well in a actually kind of a small mini golden era of those type of like mini disaster movies that seem to kind of nail that tone.
Yeah.
Twister was one of the best ones. So I hope this does the same.
Yeah, me too. It's actually coming from director Lee Isaac Chung, and he did some of the episodes of he did an episode of The Mandalorian season 3. He's doing Star Wars Skeleton Crew, and he did the 2020 film Minari, which I remember from being on the awards kind of critical awards circuit. But I don't think this will be kind of a big debut for him. So congratulations to him, because I mean the finished product so far looks pretty awesome. All right, let's move over to Connor. You want to take the next one?
Let's do it. What is the next one? The Fall Guy. Yeah, more Ryan Gosling goodness from you on this one. This is oh wait, is it the yeah, here we go. Yeah, more of the so I feel like this is him playing off of the success of Ken and being like, I can just keep doing specifically this where I'm hilarious, but deeply flawed, and everyone's going to love me for it. And this time we're going to go back to some of the stunt stuff that I was doing it way back in Place Beyond the Pines, crank it up to 11, and throw in some character actors that everybody loves. And I'm all for it.
Nice. The ice cream bit got me. I love the bit. I love that bit so much.
Was this made by the guy who made Bullet Train? Is that his next one?
I will do some research for you right now. Yeah, I feel like.
So this? Go ahead, Kofi.
No, you go ahead.
So I saw the title and it went, oh, Fall Guy, like the old series, The Fall Guy, and then I watched this trailer and went, yeah, okay, those aren't the same thing. So I had a preconceived notion coming into this, and then went, yeah, that's not at all what I thought it was going to be. However, that's not a bad thing. I love this trailer, and I feel like I'm going to love this movie. This is like I'm trying not to cuss, but like this is like just, craziness in the best kind of way. Aliens, that whole scene on the planet of him like dual wielding, and then I love Emily Blunt. And when Emily Blunt has like great chemistry with someone, like I just feel like they can make magic on screen, right? And so I'm really high on this pair. They're gonna play off each other so well. Emily Blunt kills movies like this.
Yeah.
And Gosling is fun to watch, even in the movies when he's doing this kind of thing and he's serious. I mean, I'm a fan of The Gray Man. I really liked what he did there. So like I'm pumped for this. This looks fun as hell. And the ice cream, if there's more stuff like that kind of just kind of off the wall stupid humor that I just adore, I think this could be a favorite of the year if it lives up to what the trailer promises. So I'm all in on this, man.
I think that okay, all right, let me just get this out. Yeah, I mean, I think Connor's right about the Ken comparison, like Ryan Gosling playing up machismo ironically is kind of funny. But I also think it's a little bit of the nice guys thrown in this, like, which is that kind of, which is this offbeat LA, like very much LA culture kind of detective story about a very flawed detective. And Ryan Gosling's the more goofy kind of, mess up detective, the less tough one. And that was a great role for him. And it feels like this role is a combination of it. This is also directed by David Leitch of John Wick and Deadpool fame. And Deadpool 2 fame, who is one of the biggest kind of, working stunt guys of his era, right up there with another guy named Chad Stahelski. And so this, I feel like, is going to be one of his more personal films as well, kind of showing us almost like Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I recently rewatched. And I love the Cliff Booth side of that film a lot more when I rewatch it. Just about like what it is to be a Hollywood stuntman and like how bizarre your life is and what a weird person you kind of have to be to do that. Like his whole story is this guy just does this stuff with his body. It's like, what's Cliff's backstory? Oh, he killed his wife. And you're like, well, like, and it's like always some kind of thing like that, right? Some dude living in some like weird trailer, like, yeah, it was a weird life story. So I feel like this is going to play up all of that, and David Leitch has a unique inside look to really make this funny and offbeat and kind of great. And just the marketing is funny. I mean, the whole thing where they're just like, it's Ryan Gosling and Emily MF and Blunt, and they just have her like, yeah. It's like they're obviously having fun and winking with this. So I'm already feeling the fun myself.
If this sticks the landing, the progression from Drive to The Nice Guys to this will make an all-time triple header.
Oh, TikTok's going to be trying to cut them up into the same universe and be like, they're all part of one universe. And Place Beyond the Pines, it's the Ryan universe. And so I can't wait for that. All right. We've done all the main things, but like, I guess we'll take a couple minutes just to run through some of these quicker things that I put in for time permitting. I won't take too long on it, but FX kind of went up big in the Super Bowl by putting up their highly anticipated new series, Shogun. They put a spot there leading you to a extended trailer that was released a day or two ago. And Shogun's right up there with like the top of my highly anticipated TV for 2024. The James Clavell novel is a classic for a reason. It is one of the best books about epic kind of, it was Game of Thrones long before James R.R. Martin ever came along. If Game of Thrones was set in feudal Japan, and all the politics there. So if you loved Blue Eye Samurai and you want one that kind of is more, just a more realistic, like kind of fictional bend of history, that's everything Shogun is. So be sure to check out that trailer and that series, because we will be covering that on Comic Book Nation. One of the other ones I loved was the If thing where they got Randall Park. If in the, like I said, Ryan
that looks
Reynolds
so good, man.
Ryan Reynolds is a marketing master, and just doing the If trailer with Ryan Reynolds and quote unquote John Krasinski bringing in actor Randall Park to just reference something from The Office like 20 years ago. That is still like this now running gag because TikTok has kind of like rediscovered it is genius. Like, and it's just, they commit to this bit so wholeheartedly that it's
so
just
good.
It's so good. And it was good in The Office, and the fact that we're still doing it when Randall Park is such a bigger actor, because it worked in the original Office because you had no idea who that guy was. He was
right.
Some dude they played that Jim was using for prank.
And he clearly wasn't Jim.
Yeah. But it works because Randall Park, it works because that's why everything with Randall Park works. He has that kind of like charm to him, and the nice guyness. You could believe him. Is this really Jim? Like, am I just been really tripped out and racist this whole time? Like, but to play that up for as a theme for this movie, which also looks very good, and definitely one I want to take my kids to see for sure.
Oh my God, it looks so it looks so charming. It's just, I mean, I don't know. It's just the movie screams fun, and like I must go to theater. I'd see this by myself. I mean, this looks fantastic, but you're always looking for movies to take your kids to, and this is a must. It's already penciled in the calendar. You gotta see this.
Oh yeah, already on the calendar. Other one I thought was really good was Despicable Me. They released their trailer way earlier, like weeks ago. But they faked us all out with this super serious, because the Super Bowl had a lot of weird, serious commercials, right? Jesus, I mean, one of the themes was, if Jesus got this advertising budget, we need to talk about taxes, was like one of the hashtags of the night because of all the religious themed commercials we got. But I think that Despicable Me gets the points for the fake out commercial for doing the AI art and having us all be like, oh boy, where are we going with this? And it's just the Minions. And I was just like, this is so stupid, but I love it so much.
It's brilliant. Brilliant.
So stupid. Loved it so much. So good job to Despicable Me. And we have that full trailer.
And then the trailer's great too, right? Like I didn't need one for Despicable Me. I mean, when that sucker was announced,
show me a Minion gag and I'll go.
Yeah, it's great. But like the fact that they went so all out for it and then also produced a great trailer was like, I'm in. Like Bob is a member of this household. All right. There are certain Minion characters that are just like part of the extended fam. I love this crew. They're so great, and I'm so pumped that like they're still going out of their way. You know what I mean? To think stuff up. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, this is like one of the bigger arcs we've had for an animated character for where Gru's been, and the whole Gru life story and universe fleshed out, the minions fleshed out their universe. Like, this thing is nailing it down harder than Game of Thrones. Wow, we have a lot of real social flame war statements in this episode that we're just making comparisons. The minion universe is stronger than Game of Thrones. All right. And finally, just as a mention, obviously, we're not going to put it up here, but The Walking Dead, the ones who live, did an ambitious marketing a bold little marketing move. They put out a halftime show of their own with 9-minute kind of featurette of the cast and crew talking about the series. We've already talked about it and talked about the trailer for the series. I know this is going to be one we're back in to kind of check out. We've also have a lot of extensive ComicBook.com interviews with the Walking Dead, the ones who live cast and crew, where Scott Gimple also hinted that he's looking to do his own Avengers Infinity War Endgame style thing. Because when you look at it, there have been 7 of these series, if you can believe that. The Walking Dead, Fear the Walking Dead, The Walking Dead, The World Beyond, Tales of the Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon, Dead City, and now The Ones Who Live, right? But most of those series are about people, our favorite survivors from the main series, splintering off and doing their own thing, and there'll be a Daryl and Carol thing coming up. So all of them coming back together for an event would be something I'd definitely watch. So,
oh man, can you imagine if they brought Shane back into that? Just find a way. Just do it. Find a way.
No. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I would love to see that. So check that out if you haven't. We have that on comicbook.com too. Speaking of halftime, let's close out the show. What you guys think?
I feel like it kicked into a high gear when Little John showed up, and seeing Ludacris still having the afro, which I swear I haven't seen him wear since like Fast and Furious 2.
Yeah,
that was when it was fun.
Yeah, it's been
everything up until that point. I was like, he's kind of getting overshadowed by whoever's joining him on stage. Like Alicia Keys pops up for a second. I'm like, okay, well, no, why isn't she doing this? But then I don't know. I've seen some shows where the backup track is kind of doing the heavy lifting on the singing while the performer is dancing.
Right.
I unfortunately saw a Jason Derulo show that did exactly that, and it was universally panned. But
Usher was singing.
He was singing, but it felt like he was more about the movement than he was the actual songs, because he kept jumping from song to song to song until we get to Yeah, and then they absolutely nail it. And I'm like, okay, no, this is why you're here. So
yeah, but like, oh my, because he has so many hits. That's why I have to. Yeah. That's why I had to jump from that. I don't know, man. I thought when okay, here's the thing though. I love My Boo. That's like one of my favorite songs. I am a lifelong Alicia Keys fan. So when she came out, I lost my mind, but it wasn't because like she was stealing the show. I love that. Like also her bringing, like, that was an amazing cameo. Yes. Like I think the guests killed it, but I don't think he was ever overshadowed. I mean, he went through a lot. Not all of the hits, right? Because he's got too many to fit into a thing. But I still thought he Let It Burn, Confessions, like you start getting into, those. I wanted to hear him. I did. And then of course you're going to end with there's nowhere else to end.
So many bets on the table. I was in so many heated debates on whether you open with or close with Everybody knew it had to be one or the other. I was like, it would have been dope if you just had it completely dark. My theory was like, you just have some lights start going up, like boom, 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 boom. Like that would have started everybody up. But I like that he started with what did we start with? Was
it Love in This Club, or was it?
No, that was in the middle. I forget. Oh, I can't think of the name of the
song.
I'm
blanking on what I was Caught Up. Yep, that's right.
Caught up. Yeah, Caught Up. Which was I didn't see him starting there. I thought that was going to be in the middle, but it was like still enough of a hit that I was just like, yeah.
I still wanted you to remind me up top. That would have been a great way to start it, and then just move into the other stuff.
But yeah, the young kids are too. I mean, that's way
My Way. He didn't do My Way. He didn't do Nice and Slow. Like, man, there's all the Usher's got hits.
90s. You can't go back though. That was too far. I got it. Like his son helped him plot it out because he needed to keep it for the TikTok. He needed to cover a lot. He had to slow it down for like the older black. He had to do a lot. But
he had to do a lot in that.
I just started laughing.
He's in my top 5. I will say Usher, and I'm not trying to order my top 5, but that's like Michael Jackson, Prince, one of the Beyoncés. I love the Snoop and Dre one, and I love this one. And there's been some other ones in there that I thought were right outside the top 5, like Shakira stuff is been
Yeah.
kind of nice. Like, yeah.
This
Anyway.
falls into my lower top 10. But did anybody else start laughing when they start playing Let It Burn? Everyone just starts pulling up old Boondocks gifs. I was like, oh my god.
Oh man, that is a good one too.
Not.
Yeah. Oh,
could have been worse. Could have been Mario.
To producer Rich, I also wanted Lovers and Friends, but I feel like that was too Atlanta. Like we were getting too in the streets of Atlanta for Lovers and Friends. Like I feel like that's a big song, but it's a big song with like hip hop crowds. Like he was trying to keep it on some of the bigger mainstream hits, which, you know,
I thought "Oh My God" got buried a little bit actually, because I thought that would be a bigger, it would go off bigger, and it, you know, I was kind of I was hoping for the Nicki Minaj guest as well.
Yeah.
But you know, that didn't end up happening either.
Yeah, I mean, I thought he would throw in at least like one off the new album too, like Good or something, like have 21 Savage or somebody come out like that, and like. But no, I knew that "Oh My God" and "Yeah" would be a medley. I knew that. I was like, if you don't start them on either end, like if you don't have "Oh My God" as an opener and "Yeah" as a closer, or flip flop it, like they would be kind of a mix of his biggest, because there is universally like his two biggest hits. Probably.
Props to them for just letting Little John play "Turn Down" for like a minute.
That was insane.
That was great.
My whole house, because my son, that's like the song, that's like our anthem song in this house. So my whole house did not turn down in that moment. We turned up.
That was good.
It was
yeah.
great. Yeah, that was great. All right.
He's at least in the top 10. He's at least, I don't know if he's top 5. I'd actually have to go and like actually go look at the list because it's big, right? But he's in the top 10 easy. I don't know if it's top 5 or not. I got to look at it.
I've been having this debate today because I remember Michael being the one that got me like I'm old enough that Michael Jackson got me interested in the Super Bowl shows. But I mean, God made it rain on Prince during Purple Rain. So
yeah. And
I feel like the universe already
that's kind of the perfect performance. But like, this falls somewhere for me in like it's not 10th, but it's right around there, because it's like the ones you mentioned, and like Lady Gaga had a great one, Bruno had a good one. Yep, I like the Weeknd's one, given it was the COVID era.
Weeknd one, yeah, no, I like the performance as a TV one. That's the one that got my
the Shakira J-Lo one is high on my list. I love that one. I thought they did such a great job.
Yeah, crushed it. People talk so much trash about the one, but it was a lot of hate. That was that Latin takeover. Yeah, that was a lot of hate on that one. But no, yeah, there are a lot of good ones. We should go back and watch.
Yeah, we should do a ranking on that now.
Yeah. Oh, maybe this weekend or maybe on Friday. If we don't have anything else to do this Friday, we can get stupid on that. Why not?
There's definitely nothing else coming out this week, especially from the Spumac or whatever they call them, the Sony thing now.
Oh no!
I do believe that might be this week.
But I remember having this debate in the Amazon while my mom was researching deadly spiders. Yeah. All right. So we got to be back on Friday. That's a good time to shift over into program notes. We are Comic Book Nation, the only show that does it all for geek culture. We are launching all kinds of spin out and bonus episodes for every subject in geek culture, because our main live show on Fridays can't hold it all. We do timely things like this, wrapping up Super Bowl trailers every Wednesday. Matthew Aguilar pulls the biggest comics of the week. And now, because some of you screamed at us, some indie ones, so we can do the pull list where we have big comics discussions. Every Thursday, we're doing Quick Save, our gaming focus show where the gaming team pulls together the biggest gaming topics of the week and goes into a deep dive on those. We just talked about Disney teaming up and getting into the Fortnite universe, while me and Matthew Aguilar are doing Quick Save bonus episodes for Halo Season 2. We are recording Halo Season 2 episodes, and we have to schedule another one of those right after we do this, now that I think about it. But we are talking about each episode of that show as it comes out. Plus, whenever these guys have big things in wrestling and elsewhere, we are doing not only big shows for that, but interviews, all kinds of other stuff. Be sure to subscribe to the Comic Book Nation YouTube page and subscribe to us on your favorite platforms. We are on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Apple, and Spotify. All right, guys, this was a crazy Super Bowl. It was a great game. It was a lot of trailers. It was a lot of work to do during the game. But as always, it's good to kind of play Monday morning quarterback with you guys and break this all down. Real quick, out of everything you saw, what is the thing which movie did you come out of this most anticipating? Let's go around super quick. Matt.
Man, I think Fall Guy.
All right, Connor.
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. They have not let me down once yet.
And I was also Planet of the Apes. So there you have it. All right, let us know your favorites. We will see you guys out there. This is Comic Book Nation. Peace.
Later.
This is